With this thing powered up and doing a Windows update, we should be ready to game pretty soon. So I'm primarily going to stick with source games. Before this, I did want to try and install the graphics driver for that mystery graphics card that doesn't seem to exist. And after going through that process, I fired up GPU-Z again and still nothing. But somehow Valve's hardware survey did in fact pick it up and claims it only has 16 gigs of VRAM. Sorry, 16 megs of VRAM. Whoa. And I'm surprised it could even load a Windows 11 Pro desktop, quite frankly, or even the Steam client. I mean, that is no VRAM. So we're going to open up some source games and see how those things play. So I'm going to start it off with Half-Life 2. After that, we are going to do the Counter-Strike Source video benchmark. Probably attempt some Portal 2. We'll see if it can handle that. Doom and potentially Quake. So loading into the game, you can see right away that thing's playing like a potato. You can see that pretty intense tearing, stuttering. So I'm going to go try to change some of these graphics settings, but I don't know if you guys can see that with my hand mouse moving down there. Like, this thing is very, very delayed. I'd be surprised if it's even getting 10 FPS right now. Basically making the game unplayable. I promise I'm not that bad at FPS games. So I'm going to drop those graphics settings and hopefully see if it makes any noticeable difference. So it just picked its default settings when it loaded the game for the first time. So we're going to turn off a few of those things, make sure VSync is off, drop our textures down and the resolution down, and fire away. Oh yeah, that's more like it, potato quality. So already you can kind of see with my hand movements down there, it is feeling a little more responsive. Do I even say playable? So we're gonna go do this little puzzle really quick and keep cruising through the canals and yeah, just take a good gander and is this something, you know, you would consider playable or not? Obviously this would be a bare minimum playable. But it definitely gave me some good nostalgia feels. This kind of reminded me of the first time I actually played the Source games off a CD. Well, it was a DVD. Purchased it at Target back when I was in middle school. I was super excited. It was the orange box. I actually still have that game and everything still in its little box. But more or less, the HP laptop that I had, it had some really crummy single core Intel CPU. I don't even think it had 2 gigs of RAM, and you'd have to play it basically the lowest settings, but it was still quite an experience, you know, still pretty exciting. This is like my first experience with like actual games besides like the N64 or PS2, and going from PlayStation 2 games to, you know, the Half-Life series is quite a huge step up. Some of the most notable differences, I would say, would be the physics engine and other in-game objects you can interact with inside of the Source universe compared to other games I played. Part of it, too, was this is the first time I saw like real reflections. Well, or as real as you want to call them. Being able to like reflect a world. So that's where like the water looked a little bit nicer. The grass had kind of like a shimmer to it. And that was cool. It definitely gave it a bigger feeling and a more real source of energy. I know when I originally played this, I thought, you know, I didn't really understand how maps were designed, especially seeing something like this that seemed to have such a huge map. I was very curious, like, did they create like a whole world and this is just like a part of it? And so it was fun to use no clip mode and kind of like fly around, see some buildings and whatnot. So Half-Life overall, I would say playable. Barely, but playable. Jumping into Counter-Strike, I'm going to tweak all these settings to the bare minimum just to see what sort of benchmark we can run. I was never a huge Counter-Strike player. I did play more Team Fortress 2, especially when that came out and it was a little less complicated. Now it seems like there's so many items and so many things. It just kind of lost my interest. So jumping in this benchmark, you can already see how stuttery and jittery this is running. Here's old Gordon. So we're just going to let this one finish up. Check our results and see where do we go from here. So I would, comparing Half-Life 2, which runs on the Source, versus Counter-Strike Source, based on how this benchmark's going, I would say this is not even playable. I don't even think it's worth loading up a game just because of how poor those conditions will be and how much of a delay there will be from mouse inputs to actual on-screen changes. And just like that, we are done. Wow. 14.71 FPS average. That is not playable. But let's see, what about Portal 2? Is that playable? So I'm going to run through here, basically make sure all these settings are at the bare minimum, and jump into a map. Oh yeah. Yep, that's rich. Yeah, look at that. That's horrible. And with my mouse being so sensitive and with that delay, I definitely had to kind of tweak that down a little bit. And back at it we go. So you can just see how many frames are being dropped. I don't even know if this would be considered playable, really. But we're going to keep playing it. So it's been a minute since I played Portal, and we're going to see how long it takes me to get through this test chamber. If y'all haven't played the original Portal or Portal 2, I really recommend giving those a playthrough. Especially playing with the original Portal first. Quite a unique and fun gaming experience, especially being able to, create these portals, right, that you can then travel through. So there's quite a few mods for Portal and Portal 2 that basically allow you to shoot up to 3 or 4 portals, and some of those creators have made different maps that really put you into a thinking challenge to complete those. I also, at some point, would like to try to complete all the challenge test chambers and do some of the co-op stuff on Portal 2, because I've never actually tried the co-op on Portal 2. I got Portal 2 a little bit behind the 8-ball after it released, and none of my friends really played much of it, so whoops. But the story's pretty solid. I would definitely like to see some spoiler alerts. Either some sort of side tangent that would talk more about the Borealis, or even a little bit more about Aperture, and kind of like a, I don't know if you'd want to call it a precursor, but something that would kind of shed a little bit more light on where that split went from Aperture Science and, oh shoot, what's the other one? That's right, the most important, Black Mesa. Part of the Black Mesa Research Facility. So, kind of curious. I really hope a Half-Life 3 would drop. I know Alex was a pretty nice treat. I don't have a VR headset, so I ended up playing that primarily with the no VR mod, which to me, besides like 1 or 2 little glitches, I thought was basically like a full-baked experience. Especially, if I'm playing a game, I don't want to have to like stand up, right? Like I'm trying to be lazy, I'm trying to just chill. And I have to put on a VR headset and potentially be standing or in a larger space seems a lot more effort and a lot less casual than the experience I was looking for. It'd be cool if Valve released a more so standalone, like their own non-VR mod for Half-Life Alyx. I believe they would be able to do it a little bit better. No shade at all on the Half-Life No VR team. I think they did a fantastic job. But running the game natively, how it was created, would definitely yield a better experience. And so I don't know about you guys, but some of the best elements in Portal, I think, are the dialogues from the AI and GLaDOS. Pretty funny. Or Wheatley for Portal 2. I think the OG Valve and Source did quite a good job with storytelling in their games and creating an atmosphere that kind of draws you in. So highly recommend it if you've never played any of the Source games. Give them a try. It's kind of fun. I know a lot of them are basically, you could probably get the equivalent of the orange box for less than $5 on Steam, and it's definitely a good collection for anybody to just have that in their library. So here we go. You can see it's glitching on the way to the elevator, and Portal 2, I would say, is not playable. So it's Doom time, right? It's got to be able to run Doom. Well, unfortunately, nope. This GPU does not support the OpenGL or the Vulkan models that are required to run Doom. So that's kind of sad. So I figured, well, why not try Quake? I mean, that should be able to run, right? And we're just going to wait. It's just going to think. It's going to check. It's going to try to launch. And voila. No compatible graphics card detected. And this is a very low intensive game. So that just kind of shows some of the limitations with this strange Maxon 200W3 graphics processor that's in this. Anyways, I had fun kind of diving into some older games, trying to see, are they playable on this machine? I planned a few upgrades for this, and let's see what the cost would be to actually get this thing to run some games. So thanks for watching. I will catch you guys on the next episode. Hope you have a great weekend. Bye.